In the US's most expensive metro area for housing, city streets are getting tiny homes made out of repurposed shipping containers. The new quick-build dwellings in San Jose, California, cover 80 square feet, enough for a bed, desk, mini fridge and coveted private bathroom. They also offer a chance for stability to people such as Stephen Dotson, who often lived on the street during a 4-decade struggle with alcoholism. Having moved into the transitional housing in July, he's getting help with his drinking and looking for a job. When I was homeless, people just didn't think I was real, they wouldn't even acknowledge me, said Dotson, 55. This place, it's a blessing. It gives me hope and motivation to do something different with my life. Barebones lodgings like Dotson's are catching on from Los Angeles to Boston as a way to respond to rising homelessness, even as critics warn that they're no substitute for investing in permanent housing. Nowhere is the debate more important than in California, where homelessness is pervasive and affordable housing projects often get hung up in zoning battles and community opposition. The structures are also increasingly seen as key to sparking a revival in cities such as San Francisco and San Jose, where urban cores are suffering from a slow return of workers and perceptions of downtown squalor that in turn keep away more people. The repurposed cargo containers typically cost San Jose about $150,000 per unit for a 100-home project, and Mayor Matt Mahan says it's money well spent. These are interim solutions to mitigate the impacts because we cannot have this so-called doom loop happening because of homelessness, where we lose our employers who are the tax base for cities and then we can't fund basic services, he said. That's just not a viable path for us. Maybe not, but Mahan's approach is sparking a wider debate over how to address the housing shortage fueling California's homelessness rate, the nation's highest. The fight boils down to spending. In the long run, opponents say, it will be more expensive for the city to fund temporary structures that will only last 10 to 15 years than to subsidize permanent housing that will be around for decades. This "we can do it faster and cheaper" argument that the mayor puts forward, sure. It sounds great when you're thumping your chest in front of the microphone, said Jeffrey Buchanan, policy director of the nonprofit Working Partnerships USA. But when you actually look at reality, it's very different. For years, housing development in California has failed to keep pace with the state's population growth, a problem particularly acute in San Jose and its Silicon Valley surroundings. The tech-driven wealth and hiring in the region, home to behemoths such as Apple Incorporated and Alphabet Incorporated, has sent the metro area's median home price to $1.8 million, the highest in the country. That's left middle-income homebuyers behind and pushed the most impoverished into cars and tents or onto the street. California has more than 170,000 people experiencing homelessness, or almost 30% of the national total. The state accounts for about 12% of the overall U.S. population. The shortage is compounded by the state's often slow, uncertain process of approving new construction. Here in the Bay Area, it takes 5 to 6 years to get a multifamily housing project from proposal to completion, said Mahan's predecessor as mayor, Sam Liccardo, who was among the first to spotlight the potential of quick-build transitional housing for San Jose. That's just not anything that's going to scale at a pace we need to address this crisis. At the state level, California Governor Gavin Newsom has made reducing homelessness a key tenet of his administration. Since taking office in 2019, he has committed more than $30 billion to address housing and homelessness, with spending on everything from tiny homes to shelter beds and support services. But homelessness has only worsened since the pandemic hit, increasing by 6%. Tiny homes have increasingly become one of the state's go-to strategies to address homelessness because they can get people sheltered fast. The governor said earlier this year that the state would spend $30 million to build 1,200 tiny houses. In San Jose, which built its first such structures in 2020, the dwellings are part of communities that provide people with prepared meals and kitchen facilities, as well as support services and case management. Already, Mahan said, they helped lower the number of unsheltered people in San Jose by about 11% over the past year. The city still has about 4,400 unsheltered people, according to a recent count, but the mayor said they're making progress. Of the 1,500 or so people who have lived in one of the city's 6 quick-build sites, about half have moved into a permanent home. We know that leaving thousands of people out there for years on end means it would be harder for them to ever turn their lives around, Mahan said. We've got to act with urgency to get our unsheltered population as close to zero as we can. While construction and operation expenses vary, on average it costs about $15 million to build a 100-unit site, plus about $3.4 million a year to operate it, according to Jim Shannon, the city manager's budget director. By comparison, the cost of building permanent affordable housing is nearing $1 million per unit in San Jose. The city's 6 quick-build housing sites currently have about 500 beds, and Mahan is behind on meeting his goal of 1,000 by the end of the year. In a contentious move earlier this year, San Jose reallocated about $12.3 million of its $105 million in housing funds away from permanent housing. That was far less than the mayor's initial ask of $38 million. Still, it means only about 68% of the housing budget will go to permanent homes, down from 75% last year. The bottom line is that temporary dwellings don't provide a permanent solution for the homeless, who need affordable and stable housing options, said Jennifer Loving, CEO of the housing nonprofit Destination Home. Whether or not we see these folks on the streets, when they're in a temporary placement they're still technically homeless, she said. But San Jose's quick-build homes may still play an important role. It's been about 4 months since Dotson became a resident at the Guadalupe site near downtown San Jose. He said he knows there's a long road ahead. "I want to get a full-time job, I want to get into an apartment and get back into the community," he said. "It would be kind of cool to have a girlfriend and an apartment here in San Jose or the Bay Area somewhere and get some savings going."